Hello all, welcome back to Be Creative. This week's tag was inspired by the one and the only Inky Fairy Design. Last week on her channel, she made this beautiful mixed media tag using a whole bunch of WoW and Prima stuff. I absolutely fell in love with the background. So I reached out to her, asked if it was okay if I created a tag that was inspired by her artwork, and because she's outstanding, she said yes, of course. So I will put a link to her channel down in the description box below so that you can check out what the tag was actually supposed to look like. She started off by ripping some scrapbook paper and then taking a paper distresser to the edges. And you can see I didn't have the exact paper that she used, so I used something that was kind of close to it. And following her tutorial, I'm distressing the edges, but it doesn't fit. So I'm just gonna rip it and kind of completely undo all of the distressing that I just did. So I'm going to get that glued down, and I'm using Dilutions, the Dilutions glue stick this time. Are you surprised? It's not gel medium. That was purposeful. I needed to put a whole bunch of paint over top of this, and I didn't want to wait for it to dry because it's been like almost 90 degrees here in Virginia with 80% humidity, so nothing's drying, and it's also miserable. Anyway, so she used like this mint and pink color. I didn't have those, so I tried to pick colors that were close to the paper, and I'm about 2 or 3 minutes into her tutorial at this point, and this is basically where I stopped following along because the colors that I picked, oh gosh, this is, if you're sitting there thinking this is not okay, that's what I was thinking too. The colors that she used were a lot lighter and more pastel-y than the fuchsia, olive, and that's that new Tim Holtz speckled egg color. I want to see what that would do. And it just did not give me the same effect because they're too dark, really. They're not, well, I mean, obviously they're not pastel-y. So at this point, I'm basically just trying to fix this. We are, so don't panic. It's okay. And I'm going to do what I always do. I'm going to add some white. But again, because I'm not waiting for anything to dry, you're probably going to notice that it's not going to be a really nice, bright, crisp white. I'm going to rectify that here in a couple minutes. I am kind of liking what's starting to transpire here. Like, what is it that they say? If you do something wrong once, it's a mistake. But if you keep making the same mistake over and over again, now it's a pattern and it's part of the design. So that, I just embraced that sentiment, and that's what I kept doing. And you know what? I think it worked. I really like the colors, and you can still see just a little bit of that scrapbook paper in the background. I have a stamp that I'm just stamping on with Stays On ink to give a little bit more texture, and I decide that I need it doesn't feel ready. Doesn't feel ready to go yet. So I'm going to add some carnation scribble stick with, that's a Dina Wakley stamp, I think from the Stronger stamp set. I was a little disappointed. This did not give me the impression that I wanted. See, I'm tapping my fingers. I'm trying to figure out what to do. So I'm going to go back over it with a little bit less water with the scribble stick on the stamp and see if that helps. Really, in hindsight, it was just the wrong color choice. That's all that was. So I decided that I did need something that had like a little bit more color to it. So I started digging around in my stamp pad collection, and I found a set of old Wendy V Archival Ink mini pads that I've had for forever and a day from my card making days, which lasted all of like 15 minutes. So anyway, these colors were perfect, and I think that's sky, maybe? I don't know. Check the description box below for a list of the full supplies. I don't know why that was sing-songy. Sorry. So the colors, like I said, were perfect, and they were probably the colors that I could have been using straight from the beginning, but again, I didn't have this in the paint. So anyway, I used what I had. I've switched over to the other stamp that's in that Dina Wakley stamp set in watering can, and I didn't realize that that stamp was going to look like that. I don't know that I would have picked that color exactly if I had realized it was going to be that pronounced. But you know what? We're going to make it work. We're going to Tim Gun this shit, and we're just going to keep moving. I added a little bit of this pinky carnation color, again from the same Archival ink. And even though there's like this great big grayish blob right there in the middle, the tag background is really starting to come together. And it looks absolutely nothing like Inky Fairy's tag at all. So I'm going to go ahead and say that I nailed this. Now I'm adding a little bit more white because I'm just trying to kind of push it back just a little bit. I don't know. I'm getting ready to make a decision. I don't know. Let me know if you think it looked better before I did this or after. I wanted more white in the background. I don't know why I wanted more white in the background, but I did. So I have some gloss sprays that I'm spraying through a stencil over a little scrap piece of paper where I was working on something. I am going to clean that up so it doesn't basically shellac itself to my mat. And then I'm going to use the tag. I'm going to use the stencil like a stamp and just put the tag right over it. And that's the finished look. Results are mixed. I don't know. I think it could have gone either way. Again, let me know in the description box below. Do you think that the stencil was too much? I kind of think the stencil was too much. So now I'm back on track and I'm trying to pick up where I left off in Inky's tutorial. And I'm just outlining the edges of, and it's all completely dry, by the way. I'm just outlining the edges with a microfiber pen, and I'm going to add some random embossing because that's what she does in her tutorial, and I loved it. I loved how just the random embossing looked. I'm using that new Distress Embossing Dauber, and it's the first time I've gotten it to work. It's been sitting upside down on my desk for like 6 weeks, and now it's finally starting to release some embossing ink. There's just 3 circles. I know. I don't really know what I was thinking. But anyway, I'm gonna make it work. I went around the edge of the tag with that same embossing ink, and now I'm just pouring the embossing powder around the edges of the tag. I'm not being super careful because in her video, she's using the Seth Apter Wow Embossing Mixed Media brush, so she was actually kind of able to brush it on. And I wanted to get that same effect with using the dauber. So if I miss places, that's actually what I'm going for. I want it to look kind of grungy and distressed in the gold. I don't know about the gold either, but you know what? At the end, I think it all came together, even with the excess white and those 3 random gold dots. You know what? I still like it. So anytime I have a really super busy background, my focal image I always leave in black and white. And I don't know. I like it. I like it even more now that I dug through my little stash and found like a little halo around her. So again, dug through my stash, and I'm going to add my sentiment, be strong. It's like a tag inception at this point. If that was a little random tag from one of Dina's stamp sets too. So this is the finished product. It looks absolutely nothing like Inky Fairies, but I had a lot of fun. Thanks guys, and I'll see you next time.